The biggest mistake that students make when they study maths is not marking their answers in an effective way. This is a very simple change that you can make, which will create the biggest improvement in your results. First and foremost, you need to mark your answers harshly. If you got something wrong, it's not just a, oh, I made a silly mistake, like I understood it, so I'm gonna mark it right and then move on. No. But when you are marking your question, you should be using the MARKS acronym. This is something that I've been using since I did my GCSEs, and that you can use for GCSE, A-level, university, or just any sort of maths qualification that you're doing, because maths is maths. MARKS stands for maths error, application difficulty, read question, knowledge, and statement. So maths error, you have literally just made a mathematical error. 2 times 2 is 2. One that I used to make all the time was 3 times 3 is 6, even though it's obviously not. So just a silly maths error. And if you got the question wrong for this reason, you've got an X by the practice question you've done, and you've got an M in a circle. Application difficulty. You have understood how processes work, but you have struggled to apply this specific process to this specific scenario. Very important when you're doing problem solving, doing modeling questions. You have not properly understood why you're doing what you're doing. And for this reason, you've not properly been able to apply it to this specific scenario. Read question. Keys in the name. You didn't read the question properly, so you didn't get the mark. It's important to identify this, because if you're consistently reading the question wrong, get highlights, you need to spend more time reading the questions, highlighting it, using a new strategy, circling things, making sure you're not missing out key pieces of information. K is knowledge. You quite simply didn't know it. So if you have a question that comes up and you've never seen it before and you have no idea how to tackle it at all, that is going to be a knowledge failure. Like on the mark scheme, when you're marking it, if you see the topic, you're like, I don't know what a circle theorem is. That is a knowledge error. It's not you go to the mark scheme and you're like, oh, it was this topic, I actually know how to do this topic, I just didn't apply it. If that was a circumstance, you don't have a fundamental knowledge error, you've got an application difficulty. So you'd write A rather than K. S is a little bit more niche, especially to UK exam boards. Statement. So you're not adhering to every area of the mark scheme, or just adhering to one. In maths, this is usually that you have not laid out every area of your working, you've not laid out every line of your working. You need to show what you're working in maths, otherwise, if you just write the answer, if it's wrong, you've got 0 marks, but if you've shown you're working, you can get some method marks. Additionally, it could be things like you've put the wrong unit, you've just put a number and you've not put the unit in there. This is a very simple change, just using the MARKS acronym in order to mark your work, and then when you're going back over your past papers or your practice questions that you got wrong, you can identify the reasons for it and structure your revision more appropriately, which will allow you to improve your grades. If you'd like this video and you want to see more study tips, then follow for more.